Hi, and welcome to the Quilts of Valor presentation at the virtual Ohio 4-H conference. So glad that you could join me virtually for this presentation. And I'm Chris Kendle. I'm with Ohio State University Extension in Tuscarawas County, and I oversee our county Quilts of Valor program. During this presentation, I'd like to share some things with you in terms of the Quilts of Valor Under Our Wings program, and then also look at quilt specifications and how to make a quilt presentation. The picture that's shown here in the side to the right, that's actually a quilt booth, or a fair booth that we put together to share about our Quilts of Valor program and the clubs that participated and just some of the things that they did. Wanted to show the website so you can get more information that's going to be in this presentation. There's so much more. There's entire guidebooks online. So you can go to the Quilts of Valor website and then Under Our Wings program to find out more. But what I wanted to share with you, the purpose of the program and a little bit of background on the program. So I found out about the Quilts of Valor Under Our Wings program when I was at our National Extension Family Consumer Sciences annual session, and it was in Nebraska, and they're very involved with the Under Our Wings program. And so they shared about this youth aspect of the Quilts of Valor program that allows youth to be involved but not have the expense that you would have with the Quilts of Valor program that some quilt guilds and whatnot are involved in. And so the purpose of the Under Our Wings program is and it's designed not only to honor veterans and service members touched by war, but to give young people the opportunity to learn the art and skill of quilting, participating in a community service project, learning about a veteran or service member in their community, and the satisfaction and honor of awarding a veteran or service member a Quilt of Valor by holding an award ceremony. And so we actually do encourage all of those aspects of the program in our county, and our 4-H committee has adopted this as a county community service project. And so not all of our clubs participate. We actually have only a few clubs that are participating, but we're very new to the program, and so this is we're entering our third year as a Quilts of Valor Under Our Wings group, and so we're excited about it, continually expanding it. But again, it is a small group because I think the whole aspect of having to make a quilt is a little intimidating to some folks. So who can participate in an Under Our Wings program? The program is designed to include both youth and adults and community service organizations. So 4-H definitely being one of those community service organizations. How do you create your own Under Our Wings program? So what we did in Tuscarawas County, and then this is also outlined on the website, but we identified groups that would be good candidates for the Under Our Wings program. So we went to our 4-H committee and asked if they would support the program, which they did. And then we approached specific 4-H clubs that we thought would be interested in participating in the program. And in fact, they were. Some weren't able to join us the first year, but continued to have interest in that program. So we met with the leaders. We actually didn't have a large group meeting, but we contacted group leaders individually to discuss the program and secure a seasoned quilter. So I love to quilt, and so I kind of fulfill that particular need for our county program. But we also work with other quilters. So I have two other quilters in particular that if clubs would like assistance, they have agreed to work with those clubs and to mentor those clubs so that they can be successful in creating their quilt. So our timeline for creating quilts is by our county fair. It could be different for your county. We have a very late county fair for the third week of September, so that gives clubs an ample amount of time to be able to complete the project and have it ready for awarding. If you have an earlier fair, maybe it would be part of a special program that you do at the end of the year or whatnot. stay in touch with a mentor from the beginning of that program to the award ceremony. So again, I act as that contact person between the clubs and our fair board for arranging that award ceremony and getting everybody there, making sure everybody's on track so that we're having some quilts to award. Get the press involved. And we've had a very interested press. They have come and taken pictures, and they've interviewed members that have worked on quilts, and they've interviewed veterans, and so that has been really quite lovely. And enjoy the process. Our kids, particularly the kids that are in my girls club, they have really enjoyed getting to sew. And so they like to sew, they're doing something for a veteran. They love that they're contributing. And so it's just all around been a really great program. So what are some of the quilt requirements? Well, the patterns and blocks can be any design that's suitable for a patriotic theme. There are actually a lot of quilt designs out there that are really great ideas. If you do a Google for Quilts of Valor designs, a lot of them will come up. When we're doing designs for a larger group, so for example, we have a Create Day event that we hold every spring, and we do a service project. So for the last 3 years, our service project has been to make a Quilts of Valor quilt. And so we pick easy designs for that because we're wanting to have all of the kids be involved with that and all different competency levels. So the first year we did a 9-patch. Last year we did the quilt that is shown, which is just like a rail style quilt. This year we did one that's just involves 3 pieces that everybody makes, and it makes kind of a zigzag design. I'll show it to you later in the presentation. The fabric, it needs to be good quality fabric, and it needs to be new fabric. They don't want fabric that's recycled from old quilts or anything like that. So new cotton fabric, appropriate for adults. Oh, this is another picture of the quilt that we had made for Create Day, and every single one of those kids that's in the picture made one of those squares, and they were so proud. You can see the smiles. They were just so excited to be doing something wonderful for our veterans. But back to the requirements. So while Quilts of Valor, they don't have to be red, white, and blue, but most recipients want a red, white, and blue quilt, given what it is. So I just caution you that, sometimes folks have made other quilts that have different kinds of designs to them that haven't been exactly patriotic quilts, and they just haven't been as well received. So I would really strongly encourage you to make it have a red, white, and blue and a patriotic theme to it. We do encourage you to avoid use of military branch specific fabric unless you know the recipient. So, for example, we did one for a gentleman that we knew was in the Coast Guard. And so we picked out some fabric that was very specific to the Coast Guard because we knew that was the branch that he was involved with. We had done some research ahead of time. We did want to surprise him, so we didn't ask him directly, but we talked with his wife. And so we picked out some very specific things for him, and he was delighted. Now, would we have been able to give that quilt to a different recipient? Probably not. So, it's very important that if you have a recipient in mind and want to make it specific to them, go for it. But if you are just having a general quilt, like the one that was on the past, that last slide, then no, you want to make it really general. The Quilts of Valor size, so they weren't big enough to cover an average adult. So ideally 60 by 80. So they do have some guidelines, some wiggle room within that. So no smaller than 55 by 65, no larger than 72 by 90. So it should be a nice bed quilt for them. This gentleman that's shown in this picture, he's a very dear friend to our 4-H program, and this was the quilt that we made for him. And he puts it on his bed. He's so delighted. And so he told me he likes to, know that he's sleeping under that quilt every night. So it is very special to them. The Quilts of Valor quilt, it should consist of a top and backing and batting, and it needs to be machine or hand quilted. No tie quilts. So they do want them to be finished quilts that are not tie quilts. And I know that in some of our early levels of quilting projects, we teach that tie quilt method. Um, the nice thing is there are a number of long armors who will volunteer their services, and we'll talk about that here in a bit too. Batting needs to be quality, low loft batting, um, and it should be appropriate for a quilt. So it's, not like a dense, you know, batting, but just a nice standard quilt batting. Binding strips. So they want those to be joined together with diagonal seams. I don't know if you can see on this particular um, seam or finished quilt here, but it does have the diagonal seam bindings, and it also has mitered corners. And so that's another thing, that they want to see is that it has a nice quality finish on it. So I know mitered corners are not an easy thing, but they do make for a lovely quilt. And so if you can at all possible do mitered corners, do them. But if not, I wouldn't let that be the reason that you would not do this project. And again, as I mentioned, volunteer long arm quilters may donate services. And then if they are donating that service particularly, check with them, what kinds of requirements do they have for preparation? So we have a lady that's in our area, and she does all of our quilts for a thank you. And what a wonderful service, so we try to be kind to her. We try to get those quilts to her early so that she has time to prepare them. We try to have everything ready for her. We allow a nice overlap so that she has room to be able to get that into her machine and doesn't have to finagle with it. So again, check with your long armor. They might have some requirements in terms of what they like to see in terms of how much the batting and the backing sticks over the edge and whatnot. Our long armor actually puts the binding on for us when she is done, which is deserving of many, many thank yous because that's quite the task. Looking at presentations. So quilts may be awarded to individuals in the community, or you can request a recipient through the Quilts of Valor website. I will tell you, we have not had any problem locating individuals in our community and actually within our clubs. So what we have done is we have asked within our clubs if there are individuals that they know or that they're related to that they would like to give a Quilts of Valor quilt. And so I know some clubs, they have had people submit names and they've done a drawing. Some have had the club members research about their individual, and then they have selected through that means. We have done ours based on if they were a relative to one of our club members, and so lots of different ways. The quilt that we do at Create Day, we actually give that to an advisor who is a veteran. And so we have worked through looking at those past military folks that we know are in the program. And so again, every year it goes to a different veteran that's within our program. So you can decide how to do that. If you don't have veterans that are that you know of to donate to, the Quilts of Valor program has a whole list of veterans, and they do it by area. So it wouldn't be going to somebody out of another state or anything like that. It would be here in Ohio, and you can even get more specific to your county. A Quilts of Valor may be awarded in a presentation case. It doesn't have to be. We always give them in a pillowcase so that way they have a nice, clean case to carry their quilt in, and they have really appreciated that. Also, you can go online and you can get labels. They like the quilts to be labeled, and you can go online and get those labels that are specific to the Quilts of Valor project. And you can see here in this particular picture, we award them at our fair. And so here we have some of our fair royalty awarding that quilt, and they were actually in a 4-H club, and so kind of playing double duty there in awarding that quilt. A note, a card, a letter, journal documenting, how the quote was created. Any of that can go along with the recipient. Probably the most touching quilt that we awarded was the first year that we did it with our Create Day event. And on all of the white squares, we had fabric markers, and we asked that the kids write a message to the veteran. And it was very, very touching, and he has just treasured that. And so, those kind of things, just a thank you, to the veteran, really wonderful. So the awards of the Quilt of Valor, they do need to report it through the website so that they can keep track of, the quilts that are awarded. So that's all I have for you with regards to that Quilts of Valor project. There's my contact information. So if you have any questions or would like to learn more about the Quilts of Valor project and some of the things that we have done through the Under Our Wings program, I'm happy to address those. The picture that's shown here, that is our current year quilt. And again, lots of happy sewers. So everybody at Create Day made one of those squares, and we had it put together by the end of Create Day. So they were so thrilled to be a part of that. Uh, Thank you so much for being with me here for this presentation. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to contact me. Email is great, and that is also my office phone where you can reach me as well. Have a great day.